one. Hey there, folks. I am the Mighty Plantain, and a quick shout out to Bill C. Thank you very much for the viewer suggestion. I recently posted New Belgium's VooDoo Ranger Juice Force, and Bill asked me to do Fruit Force Fruit Punch IPA. It's a 9.5% ABV beer, obviously another IPA, but a Fruit Punch IPA. Brewed and canned by New Belgium, blah, 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 blah. Then, regular stuff. Nothing new or different on that. Now, I've been drinking a little bit too much hard liquor tonight, so a 9.5% ABV beer is probably a bad choice, but I do try to accommodate as many viewer suggestions as I can. And like I said, I recently posted a bunch of New Belgium beers, including Juice Force, and Bill saw me doing that and said, check out the Juice Force. And he said he heard that it was not a good beer and he wants my opinion. And I appreciate that. I really do, because I've said it before and I'll say it again. Beer taste is subjective. So you could have 10 guys saying that a particular beer sucks, and then you taste it and you like it. And it happens. I will never look down on anybody who disagrees with me about the taste of a particular beer, because, again, it's all subjective to our individual tastes. So, thanks again, Bill, for, flat out saying, I've heard it doesn't taste good, can you please check it out? Because I'm willing to do that. I'm going to do it. And I might agree or disagree with previous assessments, but hey, it is what it is. Now, this is a very, very effervescent beer. There are tons of bubbles coming up from that. It's very light looking. It looks very, very yellow, light yellow to a darker yellow up here. It's not even like a pulpy lemonade, even at its darkest. But there are tons of bubbles coming up from that. And it's very hazy. Now, the haziness could be particulates, or it could just be a hazy, oily beer, because it's an IPA. But oh my God, look at all the fucking bubbles. To the point where I didn't even... I got a decent head on this originally. It should be subsiding, but it's actually getting bigger. Look at all those bubbles. I mean, that's something. If nothing else, this is an extremely effervescent beer. It honestly has a bit of a fruit juice aroma to it. Citrusy and bitter. Now, it's an IPA, so bitterness is to be expected, but there could be a hint of mango in there. Wait a minute. Hint of mango. Pine. Earth. Dankness. On the nose. I'm getting a lot of different hop esters off the aroma. So let's see here. You heard it was an awful beer. You want my assessment? I got to tell you something. I'm loving the smell of it. That's not always an indicator of how well it tastes, but the aroma's pretty enticing and complex. I'm going to take a second here to hop up and turn off my thermostat. Hopefully you guys don't hear anything more than like the rumbling of my furnace trying to start up. Look, it's in the negative teens, at least here in Maine, because it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning on February 4th. Yeah, 4th now. cold. All right, there we go. It kicked off. All right. Temperature aside, I'm almost getting a metallic earthiness to it too. Anyway, it's got a very complex aroma, which isn't necessarily an indicator of what it's going to taste like, but I'm going to try not to let the fact that I've been told it tastes bad influence my assessment here. It's not always a guarantee, but you can try. It's got a nice medium mouthfeel with a slightly oily texture, which again, that's mouthfeel and texture. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's earthy and dank. Now, you see the name Fruit Force, not Juice Force. This is Fruit Force, which I assume is a different iteration of their Juice Force, which was really a really, really, really good IPA, well balanced. But Fruit Force, I think you're looking for something that's a sweeter, fruitier version of Juice Force, and this is not that. As I'm getting further into it, I'm getting some metallic flavor. So I'm getting a lot of earthiness, a lot of dankness, and that earthiness is tending towards metallic. I'm going to give it a couple more sips here because I really want to give this a chance, but honestly, Bill, I can see why people are saying it sucks. I can see why. Because some of the flavors are pretty intense and not in a good way. Burp. Pardon. The burps are definitely not cool. I'm going to say this as a positive. It's at 9.5% ABV. There is zero booziness to this beer. You would never know that it is almost a double-digit ABV beer. It's smooth and easy drinking enough that you would never know it's going to get you drunk in like 2 seconds flat. 3 of these will have you on the floor if you drink them as fast as you would regular beers of this size. Seriously. It's going down that easy. The thing is, though, even though it's easy drinking, there are some elements that could be a bit unpleasant. And I know I'm trying to balance this out here. It's a heavily earthy with some metallic tang to it, almost cloyingly so, which when combined with the heavy dankness that I'm getting is not a completely pleasant flavor. There's also some sweet fruitiness and a hint of citrus. Burp. Pardon. And some decent floral notes as well. The finish is what's killing it for me. Honestly, up front, I get it. I get what people are saying, that it's gross and not that good. Sorry, you didn't use the word gross to describe it. You just said it's not that good. So up front, I kind of get the assessment that it's not that good. Because it is almost cloyingly earthy with a metallic tang. And when you hear juice force, you're thinking like seriously sweet and fruity, juicy flavor, which I'm not getting up front. I'm kind of getting in the finish a little bit. Yeah, it's still almost too much dank, earthy, and metallic. I get what they were going for here. There's definitely a juicy flavor, hint of citrus, some fruitiness in the finish, some fresh grassiness, and honestly, not a huge amount of citrus and pine, which is a surprise for me because yeah, I know I say this in every video. I'm mostly keyed towards citrus and pine, but I'm not getting huge overtones of citrus and pine in this. So for me, I'm impressed by that, but it's balanced by the fact that the earthy and dank and metallic notes I'm getting from this are not quite pleasant. The earthy bit is kind of like a mouthful of dirt, but not to the point where I hate it. It's once the metallic part kicks in that it turns it off for me. The juicy, fruity flavors, I usually like those in a hoppy beer, but this tends towards mango and I think papaya is what I'm thinking of. A more bitter, a sweet yet bitter fruit, and I'm not getting the sweetness lingering long enough to combat the bitterness. And I usually enjoy hoppy bitterness, but this is a sweet, fruity bitterness. It's almost like an overly fermented mango, like a mango that's gone bad on you. I personally don't like artificial mango flavor, but when you're dealing with hop varieties, it's not necessarily an artificial mango flavor. It's just a close to mango flavor. This is like this weird, sweet, bitter flavor. Pardon. I think what's happening here is I'm over-analyzing this, which anybody who's watched more than 3 or 4 of my videos knows I tend to do after having too much booze in my system. But I'm tending to overanalyze this in an attempt to balance things out. The bottom line is I can see what they were going for here. I can see how this could have been a delicious beer, but for me, personally, it's not hitting the mark. The more I smell it, the less pleasant it smells. The more skunky it gets, and this has not been around long enough to get skunky of its own volition. Yeah, I'm not seeing a date, and hang on. July 16th, 2023 is probably the go bad date, and that's at least 4 months from now. I'm going to say 4.5 conservatively. So I have to say, for me, this is it's a 2.5 out of 5. Honestly, it's hitting the run-of-the-mill average mark. And I know it's going to mess with some people. Some people are going to be like, oh, it's amazing, it's awesome, why are you rating it as average? And other people are going to say, it completely sucks, this is disgusting, why are you rating it as average? And that, for me, it's hitting that 2.5 out of 5, which is, again, right in the middle. It's a completely average beer because of the juxtaposition of the good qualities versus the less than good versus the bad qualities. Let's just stop splitting hairs and say what it is. Honestly, it's got some redeeming qualities. It's a 9.5% ABV beer that drinks smooth and easy. In general, it drinks smooth and easy. You could drink 3 or 4 of these back to back and not even fucking slow down. Easy enough. Boom, 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 boom. Done. Gulp, gulp, gulp. Especially if you're somebody who likes hoppy beers. They're going to disappear fast. But in terms of overall taste quality, there are some drawbacks here. It's got a complex and decent hop flavor. Let's not even talk about the fact that it's got some decent mouthfeel and a nice malt backbone. We're really talking about the flavor, which is heavily influenced by the hop variety. For me, again, there's that I like hoppy bitterness, but I do not like mango bitterness. It just turns me off. There's a certain fruity bitterness that sometimes just doesn't work for me, and this has got that in spades. But I'm not getting citrus or pine, which are my 2 major hop esters. Instead, I'm getting dankness, I'm getting earthiness, I'm getting some fucking serious, floral notes, but not to the point where they overwhelm the overall blah bit bitterness and that fruity mango bitterness. Apparently this beer is the one that's going to push me over the edge into hiccups tonight. So anyway, without repeating myself more than I already have, I get to lay this out. It's a 2.5 out of 5. It's a nice, completely average beer. It's got its redeeming qualities, but it still has its drawbacks. And I feel like a bit of a pussy for saying that, because, again, thanks, Bill, for coming in and saying, I heard that it sucks. And I completely agree that in some respects it does suck. But at the same time, I can see the redeeming qualities and it balances it out. I don't hate it. I would drink this on a regular basis, but I'm not going to sit there and praise it from the high ground. I'm not going to be like, oh, it's amazing. So that's me. 2.5 out of 5. I get it. I understand why people say it sucks. But I also understand people who say it's good. And me, personally, it's okay. Really, it is. And I hope that's why you guys tune into my channel, is that I don't sugarcoat anything. I don't kiss anybody's ass, but I also am not going to tell you that things are horrible just because I don't like them necessarily on one level or another. Try to present a balanced and fair assessment of the beers because, again, everybody's taste is subjective, and I know that I'm hitting the middle of the road with this one, and there are people that are going to say I'm an idiot for one extreme or the other. There are other beers where I say they're a full-on 5 out of 5 and I love it, and people say, yeah, I wasn't that impressed by it. Just the other day I was talking to Will. Hey, Will, quick shout out to you, Will H, at work, and I think it was the cinnamon bun harpoon Dunkin' variety. I didn't like it because it was cloyingly overly cinnamon. I was okay with it, but I didn't like it. And he was a big fan of it because he likes cinnamon. So, again, subjective. But anyway, that is my opinion on VooDoo Ranger Fruit Force. Beaten to death by semantics, just for the record. I acknowledge that, and I have to own it. 2.5 out of 5. It's an average beer. It's got some really great redeeming qualities. But it's also got some fucking drawbacks that don't sit right for me. And honestly, one of the big reasons it's even sitting at an average rating for me is the fact that it's a 9.5% ABV beer that you could drink easy all night long until you fucking pass out. But it is remarkably easy drinking for a 9.5 ABV beer. 4-pack of these will put you on the floor in less than 2 hours. Honestly. But it is what it is. Anyway, I've talked way too much about this. Hit me up down below in the comments or the email link. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about VooDoo Ranger's Fruit Force IPA. While you're down there, don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe to my channel. Till next time, folks, thanks for tuning in. Keep those viewer suggestions coming. If I am capable of finding them in my area, I will try to fulfill them. They get my #1 priority. Cheers.